Can we make an empire-destroying military in Songs of Syx using just archers? In a lot of other city builders and kingdom builders, it seems like archers are really OP. Like if you're playing Manor Lords, archers are the way to go, for sure. And so I wanted to put that to the test and see if archers are actually overpowered in Songs of Syx, my new favorite city simulation builder. Let's get into the game. Quick setup of the game. We started out with Despot, and of course we chose Tilapi because they are the best archers in the game. Welcome to LaundryTown. Legolas is the ruler, and the laundry machine is our flag. No titles for this run. Our starting tile had a lot of forest, a lot of fresh water with a whole nice river running right through the middle, and plenty of other resources too, so we're pretty set up, I think. Quick look at our neighbors. We do have some bug people. We also have a couple of the pig guys, but mostly around us we're going to have some small free cities, which is actually going to be really nice for our early and maybe mid to late game as we look for an empire to topple. Speaking of an empire, Foreman lore. That's going to be our goal for the end of this. So it'll be a little bit so we have to fight them, but that's what we're going after. Foreman lore. Our starting tile is actually really solid. We had so many different resources to get, but we're going to kind of settle up towards the top middle of the map where we're going to have a whole bunch of fruit, a couple of onks for eating, and then just some general trees to either do some wood cutting or orchards later. Now, if this is the first time you're playing the game and you want to get detailed information about why I chose each individual decision, did what I did, I'm going to link the entire Let's Play that I did here. It's about 5 hours start to finish, so you can see everything in real time. I'll link that in the description. Now, the Tilapi as a race really like wood building, so everything we're going to make is going to have wood specifically. The first thing we're going to do is going to make a warehouse, about 25 crates or so that way we can store our early game items, reduce that decay, and then have room for expansion a little later on. We ran out of some of the wood to finish our warehouse, so we're going to go fell some trees in the area. Luckily, there's lots. Since this is our starting area, we're going to put down a hearth, and we're also going to put down a well immediately. And then as soon as we're done with that, we'll put up some homes. Now, Tilapi really like fruits, they like meat, they like eggs, but we have a bunch of rations as well, and I don't want them to eat those. I actually want to save those so we can keep up our food days as long as possible early game. So they're not allowed to eat any rations anymore. We also designed and made our first houses, so that way there's not going to be any more homelessness, and we have, again, a little bit more room for expansion pretty early on. Like I said, Tilapi really like fruits. There are some forageable ones in the area. They're not ready yet, but they'll be ready soon, so we're going to make sure that we have that ready to go when they are. We also have some onks who are kind of like the sheep in the area. They're just roaming around, so we're going to go ahead and slaughter a few of those, get some meat, and probably get some fiber as well. Now, foraging isn't going to supply us forever, so we're going to put in some work, make a farm, and then create 2 different buildings. One of them is going to be the carpenter, and the other one is going to be the hunter. So you make the carpenter so you can make furniture, and that way you can make the hunter. Now, the hunter is probably one of the most important early game buildings in the entire game, because with it, you can produce an insane amount of meat. Whereas I did not know this for a very long time. I used to think that hunters would basically just go and forage around like I'm already doing, but they don't. They actually go slightly off of the map and they bring back a whole bunch of meat. And with one hunter supplied with like 10 or 15 workers, you can really keep your people happy for the majority of the early game. I also made some adjustments to the roundness. Tilapi really like round buildings, and I gotta be honest, I still don't entirely understand it, but I just went and added wood pieces to the edge of my building until it worked, and so far it does. Now, with a good supply of furniture, we're going to put up our first wood cutter, which will be able to supply a lot of our wood moving forward. We're going to rely on this a lot, and it's got a double benefit because the Tilapi love being wood cutters. Now, although this starting area is really good, there's one weakness of it, and that's that just not really any rocks close by. There's at least not a stone camp, right? Which means we're going to have to forage for our stone for the foreseeable future. Next, we set up our first auric pasture. Aurics are basically like the cows or bulls of this game, and they are super important for our game. The auric pastures provide 2 things. One of them, of course, is meat. The other one is going to be leather. Now, leather is super important because that's how we make our clothes. It's how we make our leather armor. It's also how we make our bows later on, which I don't know if you've noticed this, but for archers, that's kind of important. While we've been working on this, our immigration has slowly brought in more and more people. We're up to 62 right now, which means we're actually out of housing, so we need to make more. And again, we're just going to copy that building, keep the roundness settings, and keep people close by. These will likely be additional carpenters or farmers. Now, fruit's going to be really important for our growth because we can make a lot of it really quickly, so we're going to put down a second fruit farm, just kind of waiting to get enough workers to produce a whole bunch, and that'll really sustain us for our big pushes on population later on. Now, once you hit a certain population, you start improving, leveling up, and that means you get innovation and tech points. We're going to immediately put them into the hunter and the woodcutter, so that way we can get way more production, and you cannot sleep on technology. It's so important in this game. Our neighbors decided to be homies, so they gave us some money, gave us some machine parts. Very cool. We have a few things just kind of taking up crates right right now, so the fiber and clay, we're just gonna sell it to our pig homies. We were running out of storage space. We decided let's build a whole new warehouse, kind of a little bit above, so we can store all of our things and get rid of the old warehouse. We finally got our auric pastures up and running. We got some workers in there and some livestock. Right now they're not producing a lot, but when they grow up, it's gonna be extremely vital to our economy. At this point, we were over 100 population. We were starting to get some leather. We decided now is the right time to convert that leather into clothes. So we're putting up a tailor. We had enough extra workers and they were doing jobs that weren't really making them fulfilled. And we were also kind of running out on wood. So we made 4 more woodcutters. Now, long-term fruit farms are not going to be enough, and fruit orchards are so much more productive. So we put down our first fruit orchard. It's going to take a whole bunch of time to actually ripe and be ready to go. But man, is this going to produce a lot of fruit for us. At this point, I hadn't really put down a lot of roads, and I decided now is the best time. So I put out the brush tool, made some natural looking roads, I thought, because that's what felt right. It feels like a very natural city, and I've never done one of those before, so it felt like the right time. Ran out of housing, so we made some more housing over by the fruit orchard and the upper warehouse and tailor area. For your hearth and well, food stalls, market stalls, people want those close to their house, but they also want them close to work. So I've decided to kind of make the little micro, I don't know, amenity centers and areas that seem close to both people's homes and where they work. I started working on my second auric pasture because one is not going to be enough. And now we got people starting to grow up from our cows in the original pasture. Now's a good time. I decided never is it too early to start working on bows. So I imported 15 metal bars from our bug neighbors. So that way we could create our first bow maker. Now the bower is a building that you need to invest your innovation points into, which I don't love. I never know how I should spend those because they seem so hard to get, but I decided, hey, let's bite the bullet and make it happen, even though we don't even have any archers yet, but we'll get them. And with that, we have our first bower up and running. Now that the city was a little bit bigger, we had hit 200 population, we have enough buildings, we put down a janitor to make sure everything is maintained. At this point, our 2 fruit farms were producing 873 fruit a year, which is pretty good. It's one big pop of fruit, and then they decay relatively quick, but overall, I think it's totally fine. Once the fruit orchards come online, though, we'll get rid of the fruit farms. They are not nearly as good for the space they take up. I decided to move my throne because I was tired of looking at it over in that stupid little area, and I wanted to get rid of that square building. And in its place, once it was finally destroyed, I put down our second carpenter. Carpenters are going to be really important for us because the furniture is not only important for a lot of buildings, it's also vital for maintenance. So we really need to make sure we have them, and we got lots of wood from our woodcutters, so why not? Stone continues to be an issue for us. We just do not have a stone deposit close by, and so we have to keep clearing them manually. At this point, we were producing so much of an excess of wood, I decided to just sell it and get a little cash we can use for something else. Things so far have been looking pretty good. We got a good stable population, stable production for all the foods and all the things that make them happy. So now we're going to spend the innovation and we're going to get archery training grounds. I set them up at the top corner of our settlement so far, so that way we got lots of room. We'll also need to make some housing for them as well, because we plan on staffing a decent amount into the archery training ground, and soldiers are soldiers for life. They can't really help with anything else. I went to double check how maintenance was going, and wouldn't you know it, we're out of stone. Wow, love that. Storage is vital, so I put down a couple more warehouses just around the area. One definitely for the military training grounds, just general supplies over there, as well as kind of to the south to make sure that we have enough warehouses around the map around our settlement. I didn't have any space to make the warehouse over in this area, so I had to completely redo my archery range, but all good. I sound like a broken record. We're out of stone again, and we're running out of stone nearby the settlement, so this is not looking good for us long term. We'll have to figure out a solution because this is just trash. Now just a quick recap of what we've done so far 5 years in. Currently 5 years in, we got about 300 people, and we are getting our military up. Oh, this is amazing news. Real quick, let's go ahead and stop. So all of these, the game starts us with like 50 units, which is just unnecessary, gonna be honest with you. Let's go ahead and edit this. The bows, I want you guys to have, let's see, 250 is too much. Let's see, how much do they want? Okay, so this is 1. This is 2, this is 3, this is 4. This is what we want. And we want to do as much possible training as we can there. And let's do no armor for now. That's great. There's a couple reasons that I wanted to have that many bows. Obviously, you want them as trained as possible, but 4 bows is about the minimum that you want for really good archers. I did a couple of tests here, but the difference between having 3 bows per soldier versus 4 bows per soldier is almost like 25 to 30% more arrows fired. So it's massive. And if you're going to be an archer unit, the more arrows that you fire, the better off you're going to be. For seeing that we're going to get a bunch of prisoners from our military exploits, we put up a stockade. And then we put down a bunch of guard posts, kind of preemptively, but
as soon as we get people trained up, this is really going to help out for loyalty a lot. Now, you don't want to rely on immigration forever because people want there to be natives in their population. It's something that makes them happier. People are weird like that. So in order to do that, we need to actually make it daycare and ensure that all of our kids are surviving because they die pretty quickly. Because Tilapi are weird, I put up a cannibal construction to ensure that we're not letting any meat go to waste. Then we decided to set up our second fruit orchard right next to the first one. Lots of good wood over there for trees, so this is going to be really awesome. I really like to make nice little paths for my fruit trees because I don't know, I think it looks good. And there's lots of cool things about this game, and one of them is that you get to design to your heart's content. Now, we've gone pretty far without them, but it's really now time to set up our market stalls. People like food, of course, but they also like to have just market things. So I tend to put food stalls and market stalls really close to each other, again, where people live and also where they work. At this point, I was getting tired of manually exporting my wood, and we were making so much of it, so I decided to put up an export depot and just have it do it automatically. And we were getting pretty extended with just the one janitor, so I set up another one just using the same exact blueprint because it was working awesome. And now that we had gotten established in a lot of our other industry, I decided to use that empty space towards the top, close by other housing developments, and put a second archery range. The more archers we have trained, the faster we can go to war. And now that we have that second archery range, I made a second archery unit. I gave them, again, a whole bunch of bows, full archery training. It's going to take them about 110 days though, which is a long time, not gonna lie. I decided I'm going to invest into another supply chain. So that's going to be the charcoaler first, and then we put down a brewer, so that'll help us make our wine or shetta in this game. And of course, we're again out of stone. We are running thin on stone. I decided for maintenance reasons and just because it's driving me insane, I'm actually going to import metal and I'm going to import stone so that way I don't even have to think about it anymore. I also decided to import some pottery so that way, of course, we can continue to use our fruit and our charcoal to make wine. And wouldn't you know it, our massive export of wood production has completely flooded the market, so the price of wood has completely tanked. Great. And just when I thought things were ramping up, then we finally got the best news ever.
Finally. Okay. We got some people. Razortooth Mila. So let's go ahead and pause or go real slow and look at Razortooth Mila, this person. They want to raid us. They got 10 soldiers. Of our soldiers, who do we have deployable? We got 50. Very little experience, but they'll get some real quick, so I think we fight them. Request that the faction attack this bandit. The consequences are hard to foresee. I'm going to decline, and I'd like you to fight me.
The raiders finally show up and we get to test our archers for the first time. Now, our archers are obviously wimpy and kind of baby versions of what they'll be eventually, but I think this is a great test. You got 10 soldiers versus a total of 50 and then 2 just kind of hanging around. Now, when I press play, the enemy decided to split their unit into 2 groups of 5. And what I did is I set all of the targets to one specific unit to make sure we decimate them sooner rather than later. Not gonna lie, the archers were kind of trash. It took like half a day to kill literally one of them. And then of course they charged directly at us and took out 2 of our guys. But eventually we did defeat that one unit and the last survivor decided to just completely bail. I was wondering why the other unit didn't attack us at all, and then that's when I realized it's actually an archery unit. They did not want to attack us. Now, they did have horses, they do have bows, but they're actually not that good comparatively. Now, here's a tip for anyone who wants to do archers. You need to have high ammunition, otherwise, what are we doing? So that means you need to set your bows as high as possible. We're at 3.6, but the drop-off is so significant. It takes us forever to actually fire anything. It dragged an entire day before we even got a couple of kills. Now, we did eventually win, which was awesome, but I'll be honest with you, it was only 10 of them. We had 50 of our guys. That was kind of insane, kind of rocky, but a good first test. Now, by winning the war, we did get all of the raiders' chests, so that was about 245,000 denarii, which is going to be awesome for later growth and expansion. Back at the settlement, we're kind of having an issue. We're actually running out of meat. Although our hunter was really good and our arcs were starting to come alive and do really well, we actually needed to start importing them. It took me to realize it, but I actually had some captives in our stockade and I wasn't sure what to do with them, and then I realized that Tilapi are cannibals, so I just sentenced them to be transitioned. I don't know. Now, we were kind of hitting a wall because we just lacked other buildings to make, and so I decided now was the time to invest in a laboratory and get more innovation points. I then used the rest of that forest space to our east and made a third orchard. I then decided to use some new tech points and invest in upgrading our archery training, which is going to help us out a lot. Our Auric pastures had 50 people now working in them, which means we got a bonus, so we're going to get more leather and we're going to get even more meat, which is huge. The biggest weakness of this area is stone. There's a decent amount laying about, but it's just not enough to be sustainable, and so we had to start importing it just to maintain things. We're now about 9 years in, and now it's time to start getting our ration maker. We do have some sheda, or the wine, starting to make, which means between the meat and the sheda, we'll be able to start making rations. I decided to move our throne again over into the isle. I felt like that was really awesome, so we put down the throne on that little island and surrounded it with palisades and nice little gateway entrances for people. Sitting around 550-ish population, we knew that the next big expansion step is going to be over to the southeast. In that entire region, we're going to create Auric pastures. That's right, Auric Empire. We set down about 5 Auric pastures, but didn't make them yet. First, what we're going to do is we're going to put down some housing and some general amenities to make sure we have some people around the area to start making the pastures and then working them. We hit another huge milestone, hitting 650 population. Now this is super important because with that upgrade, now we're going to be able to actually have some nobility. Nobles are super OP in this build in version 71. They're huge. So this was a massive milestone for us. In my insanity in being so excited for my nobles and my Auric pastures, I didn't realize it, but I had actually built over the one stone deposit that we had in the area. Like an idiot. I noticed that someone was starving and I could not figure out why until I looked and saw it was a Tilapian guard completely cut off from everything. Somehow they got stuck in the palisades and couldn't leave. Funny enough, we had made so many rations that we were running out of space for them, and I didn't want to make a whole other warehouse just to do it, so I decided to start selling them just until we really needed them. With the new Auric pasture and throne area completed, I decided to upgrade our areas and put some guard stations over there. Unfortunately for me, I set them up the wrong way like an idiot.
I had it right. It'll actually tell you the direction now, so I'm not totally stupid. Partially stupid, though.
After so much time in the game, I decided to take a second and look at what we've built so far.
Our beautiful little location. Making it look awesome. Nice little bridge area here that I think really wraps around really nicely. This area will start expanding out as it's necessary.
I realized if we needed world domination, we needed more archery ranges, so I built a gigantic one which could house 150 different archers. Thinking long term, I knew that this area was going to be the next big stage of expansion, so over to the northwest area, we built a gigantic warehouse right next to our archery, and that's where we're going to put a whole bunch of our new houses and industry. At this point, I was feeling really bad because I kept noticing the starving notification in the top from Endlin Soul Crusher, and so I decided to go on a rescue mission.
We're coming for you! We're coming for you, Endlin. Oh, she made it past. Okay, thank God.
With that miracle in hand, I decided to increase our happiness a little bit, and I realized I hadn't even put up any shrines yet, so I went on a shrine making rampage and put them all over the settlement. Realizing that my supply was getting low, I decided to take some crazy pills and put up 10 new woodcutters. We made all these different changes. I didn't even realize it, but we were reaching 1,000 population.
Ooh, we are above 1,000. Hold off for now. Now that we're above 1,000, have we ever been above 1,000 before? I actually don't know.
No, I had never been over 1,000 population, so this was a huge win for me and a huge learning experience because I am still out of stone. And from bad to worse, swamp lung is sweeping through our settlement. I've never had to deal with diseases before, so you can tell I'm still pretty new at the game, but really enjoying it. Let me know what you guys think as well. Being newer to the game, I did my trusty Reddit and Discord search and found that wells and physicians are going to be massive, so I decided let's upgrade some wells, and wouldn't you know it, the thing that made me not be able to upgrade them was
stone. That's so funny that stone is literally our limiting factor right now.
It wasn't all bad though. I had reached a point where our army was good enough where I felt like it was time to, of course, save scum and then go take our first ever city. There was a free city really close by, Fickenstad, and I felt like they were weak enough where it could make sense. So let's go on and see how our archers do. Now, unlike the raiders, these guys were a little bit more heavily armed, but I've noticed that the AI military, when they're not like extremely overpowered, they do kind of some stupid stuff. Like, they definitely should have been approaching us a lot more consistently and trying to fight us, but instead they just kind of ran around, and as long as I had one unit as a decoy, I could use the other unit to just fire arrows at them. That being said, if you don't destroy the units quick enough, you start running out of ammunition, and I started realizing that things were going downhill pretty quick. But luckily, the smaller unit we were able to finally rout and make it so we only had one team left to deal with. And they had ran around so much at this point, they decided to just hide in the woods, which I thought was kind of funny and generally a good strategy. We were running out of ammunition, they weren't really taking any losses, and we weren't improving anything. And my biggest fear was realize one of my units actually did run out of ammunition. So I decided to readjust my approach and actually use them as a battering ram. But that was even short-lived because we ran out of ammunition with our other units. So all of our archers had no more ammunition. Luckily, when we decided to go mano-y-mano, we took the dub.
Okay, we finally... Okay. Oh, we didn't lose anybody. I just realized we didn't lose anybody. Very interesting. I think we broke their morale.
But in the end, a win is a win. We got some plunder. We occupied Fickenstad, and just like that, we had our first ever occupied territory. I'll be honest, I had never gotten this far before, so I wasn't exactly sure what to do. I knew that I needed stone, so I set up a stone mine, but this would actually come back to bite me a little bit later. And then just because I was curious, I decided to go and inspect that little yellow box, which of course would not lead to any problems at all. Oh, wait a second. Now I'm in a war with the bug people. But this time would be a little bit differently. I had learned from my mistakes, and I realized you actually needed to supply your armies. And now that my armies were well supplied, I had a full archery unit with all the ammo they could use. I felt like we finally had the upper hand. And boy, was that an understatement.
Let's find out. Is everyone still in range? They are. Everyone's exactly in range. We're gonna let them fire at will for a bit. Okay, here's the real test. I got a feeling that this is not gonna go super well for us, but we'll find out. They had 100. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. That was crazy. Where are they going after? Who's getting mollywopped? Let's go ahead and focus our fire on these guys. Okay, we're getting them. Let them run, man. Let them run. Oh my gosh. They are fast. I will say that. The Garthini are fast as hell. We're gonna switch them all back. Oh, to this. Okay, we were able to make one scatter. Focus on these guys. These are actually super strong. I did not realize how strong we would be. I'm just gonna let them chill for a sec, dude. Let them relax. Finish this up. All right, and now we are gonna turn. These guys are actually insanely strong. I was talking so much crap. Let them fire at will, man. We're wrecking them. Whoa. Fire at will. Fire at will. This guy's still fighting. Oh, there he goes. Anyone else still fighting? Where are they at? This is crazy. Still a few more straggling around. What? That was 156 that they had. People who were armored up, and look at that. That's impressive.
I was riding high. I got a whole bunch of prisoners that I could do something with. I decided to release them to make it so that way people didn't hate me too much. And then something happened that I wasn't expecting.
The region of Fickenstein has low public order and could rebel any day now. Temporary fix would be to station troops there to turn troublemakers, but in the long run, we should fix these problems permanently. What's going on here, guys? Why don't you like me? I mean, support's going up a little bit. I don't gotta worry that much. It is going up. I'm giving him some guard posts and such. So I just beat you guys. So now what do I do?
And not even realizing it, I decided to auto-simulate the war and got decimated. My entire army of 100 archers gone, just like that.
There's no way that happened. Did you guys just see that? I have to rebuild everything. Oh my god, I have to rebuild everything. Okay.
And now that our army was decimated, we were no longer able to stop the rebellion from Fickenstein, and they declared independence.
And I don't even think I have an army to go and get them with. Everything's fallen apart. I think those are the taxes, though. Yeah, because now we're not getting any stone back. Ugh. Well, what are you going to do?
But not everything was doom and gloom, because in our decimation, in our darkest hour, we finished our archery training ground.
Archery's back on the menu, boys.
Now, we weren't ready yet, and that meant that we were still getting bullied about by our stupid bug neighbors. Pix-Pact is now becoming my mortal enemy. But I'm an optimist, all right? We were up at 1.3 thousand population. Things were working out pretty good. Our native population was going up, and then the worst news ever.
No! We're about to have another disease. How can we stop this? Oh my gosh. How does this keep happening to us?
Realizing we needed to get more innovation and knowledge growth, I realized all of a sudden that I had not been using my unpaid labor force just chilling in the stockade. And so I set out to build a little satellite settlement for my very willing and wanting to participate intern humans, people. But of course, while I did that, we did have a raider, Dies the Robber, who decided that he was going to take even more of our stuff. Now, I had no way to fight them off, so I gave him 42,000 gold and a whole bunch of leather. But no time to wallow in our pity, because our human intern camp is set up and ready to go. Now, just like the Tilapi are really good at orchards and woodcutters and archery, humans are great at laboratory work, and of course, interns love being put in a lab to work all day and night. But then they started complaining about living conditions for some reason, so I put up some guard posts to keep them in check, but ultimately I also gave them some food in market stalls to keep them happy that way too. Not a 401k, but it'll work. I decided then to move on to our next phase of archery, and we got even more archery prowess to make our awesome archers even better. I finally realized just how awesome physicians are, so I built out two of them, one close to our original kind of settlement area and another close to our archery range, our fight pit, and our general warehouse area. Felt like that made sense. But then the stupid bugs decided they wanted to have a trade agreement, so I accepted temporarily, but I will be getting my revenge. You can bet on it. In my rage, though, I just realized I am at 1.4 thousand population, and I don't have a single lavatory. So we're gonna get working on that and get some lavatories around. It's so funny, the small things that you forget in your supply chain. I made a whole bunch of janitors, but I didn't make a single lavatory. That's wild. But we were starting to get a couple more archery units ready because everyone was filled out, and I wanted to make sure all of our archery training grounds were completely at capacity. I didn't want a single spot left unfilled. Now, even though the Pix Packet bug people are my mortal enemies, we can't forget our main goal, Foreman lore. I went to see how they were increasing, and I realized their army, they're no joke, and I'm not sure if we're fully there yet, so we gotta keep working to take them out. Again, empire killing archers, that's our goal. Now, the tile had a lot of unused resources, mainly a clay pit, and I realized Tilapi, they don't like doing clay pits, but I know a species who does, the fish people. So I built out a clay pit, a whole bunch of additional houses, markets, and blah, 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 definitely a guard post, so that way we could go and recruit a new set of willing interns. Willing fish people interns, for sure. The interns had arrived into our stockade where they're just hanging out. They're just chilling and enjoying their lives. And they were so happy in producing so much of our clay, we actually had to put in a couple of haulers to get the clay close to our brewing area. I also decided to beautify the area, so I put a whole bunch of torches all over the place to highlight our huge paths to make sure people can actually see as they're walking to and from work. I then used some innovation to get a library going, even though I still have no idea what the library does. I could read it in the tooltip. I'm not gonna do it though. Now, we were producing a whole bunch of clay, which would be great if we were doing anything with it. I realized we didn't even have a pottery set up. Luckily, the fish interns really like doing pottery as well, so I built one over by their settlement and put them to it. At this point, our archery training had been going so good, we needed to make more units, and I was super excited for this. Our army was really coming together. We're close to 1.5 thousand total population, and our original trainers are starting to get really good, so I think we're getting close. At this point, I have been playing for 10 real-world hours. I'm 25 in-game years into this amazing, amazing game. I absolutely love it. If you're enjoying it, I'd love if you could like and subscribe. I love playing this game. I'd like to play it more, but I want to make sure that people are also enjoying the content as well. So if that's you, thanks for being here. I appreciate it. Let's see if we can get this going. At this point, I didn't really know the capabilities of my new archers, and I was a little nervous. I felt like it was premature, but we're definitely about to get raided, so we're going to figure it out.
That guy. He's got 200 soldiers. Oh, they're pretty experienced. Ugh. We're probably gonna lose to them, man. Ugh. Attack route is a surprise. They got a couple of archers. They're almost entirely archers, actually. That could work. We might be able to make this happen, guys.
And with that, it was just a matter of time before the enemies arrived at the gate. I've been doing some research and decided to try out a new tactic. I'm gonna let them exhaust themselves as they come and try to get us. And as they're exhausted, then I am going to darken the sky with arrows.
Not everyone is in range yet, at least not effective range yet. They're trying to split. Let's go ahead and let them have it. Let's see. Oh my gosh. Oh, they've just been decimated. An entire squadron just taken out, just destroyed. Let's see. We got any more? They're getting flanked here. Oh my gosh. This is actually crazy. Archers are super strong. Another guy. Okay, these guys are coming in close. Yeah, we're just destroying these guys right now. It's not even close. The blood's better. It's so blue. Wow, just like that, guys. It's OV. They got one commander left. What? They are super strong. These guys, I was very worried about. I was actually really worried about these specific raiders because of just how much like they had armor, I guess. But that was just a complete decimation.
With that, we got a bunch of stuff, including 42 new fish interns. What a surprise to see how powerful we are. And with that, of course, we got the spoils of war. Over 500,000 denarii to strengthen up our war chest. And now that I knew the capabilities that we had, it's time to start prepping for war. So we made some adjustments, added some army depots close by our main warehouse, so that way we can be ready and outfitted for our next conquest. So I readied up our 4 most trained units. I waited for them to get their clothes, their rations, and their bows, and then we headed off for our first big test, and that's going to be Fickenstad. We're going to take back that city. I'll be honest, the siege of Fickenstad was actually kind of lackluster. They had been significantly decimated by our previous war, and so they were actually really easy. We just kind of had to wait for the siege to be over, and then they were ours. While the siege was going on, someone was spreading rumors to our population and making their loyalty go down. Wonder who it could be. With Fickenstad now under our occupation, I decided to basically change up how we did it last time. So before we went specifically for our stone mines, but this time we're going to focus on getting them as happy and loyal to us as possible. And for that, we're going to make some breweries, we're going to make some guard posts, we're going to make some stages, and just make their population as happy as possible. I'm not expecting really anything in return. I also decided to rework some of our archer units, added a little bit of tech, and now that I'm adding more people, I'm realizing that the time it takes to train them is down almost 30 days. It just takes a couple of years to train the units now, which means we can really start ramping up if we want. And with one siege under our belt, I've decided it is time to exact our revenge on the stupid bug people of Pix Pact.
I think it's time. I think we're gonna go after. We're well supplied on everything. Our archers are ready to go. It's time, man. And we are not going to do it auto. So this will be annihilation. You lose by about 200 men and inflict about 23 casualties. So we're going to wait. It's being besieged. It's got about 2,000.
Thinking about how we're going to go after Foreman lore. That's our ultimate goal. We had a very odd pop-up. Our first ever milk drinker. And with that, I wasn't exactly sure what to do.
Bring Fire Magnus to you. According to several ranchers, she snuck into Ark's pens and drank their milk. During a brief interrogation, Fire Magnus reveals that she even consumed congealed spoiled milk. One of your guards' professionalism fails them as they audibly retch, or cheese, as she calls it. The problem is that there's no actual law against this, which is why Farius now stands before you. Sadly, she's not deranged and disconcertingly lucid. So we can exile the milk drainer, or we can let them go free. They think it's gross or something? Yeah, let's exile them, whatever. Seems that you alone have been left with a lingering sense of curiosity. Experience described so readily. What? Sounds utterly disgusting, but she's not seemed to see it that way. Perhaps you could arrange to taste it yourself. Since you still want to continue ruling, such a thing would have been done secretly. I have to do it? It tastes good, too good to call this a momentary lapse in judgment. You are a milk drinker and no one must know. What?
This is the weirdest game I've ever played, I'm not gonna lie, but here we are on the doorstep of sieging Pix Pact.
Insane. What are you talking about? It said that they have 3 power. They have nobody, and they'll inflict. No, we're just gonna wait. We're just gonna wait. No, that's dumb. That doesn't make any freaking sense at all. What's this? Injuries. No prisoners. I want to occupy. Yeah, all right. Yeah, you can be homies with me. Okay. Look at us. We are expanding.
Now that we've taken over Pix Pact and destroyed the stupid bug people, now it's time to start thinking about the ultimate goal, the final challenge. Can we take down an empire? But first, we're going to disband our armies and resupply. While we're working, we got some physicians ready to go, and we finally crossed over 2,000 population, the highest that I've ever done in any civilization before. It's honestly kind of insane how great this game is, but I did find something really interesting, and that's that I've actually capped the speed, so I can no longer double tap to get 250x speed. I can only go to 25, so is what it is. At some point, it was going to happen. It's just way too many people to simulate.
Okay, so Foreman lore is where we're gonna go for sure, because this is the big kahuna of all of the empires. This is it. They've got 1.73 power. This is their realm. They have 1.2 thousand soldiers, 1.4 thousand conscripts, If we were ever gonna do it, it would happen here. Let's just start prepping. By year 30, I think we'll be ready.
I decided to bide my time, prep, become ready, get my other cities a little bit more happy with me, so maybe I can get some sort of supplies from them. But it was time, guys. I was ready. I was ready to end this freaking challenge. I know that obviously I could have made my archers even better. I could have made even more of them, but I felt like this was it. These are as good as my archers are individually gonna get, so let's go for it. Let's go after Foreman lore. Final prep work for supplying all of our armies. We're gonna take 250 total people. We're gonna get them as many bows, as many rations, as many clothes, and leather armor as possible, and then we're gonna head for the final challenge. Thanks for sticking with me. I hope you've enjoyed the video so far. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments of how I can improve and do better. But without further ado, let's fight Foreman lore.
Glorious beginning. I am so freaking ready. So freaking ready. Okay. Well, we're gonna wait until they get close by. This is their army. Everyone is out of range. They've got 1,000 people. There we go. Once they start getting a little closer in a range that makes sense for us, and I want to see them exhausted. These guys are running pretty quick. They obviously have numbers. Fire at will. Let's see where they go. Okay, we got some deaths over here. I don't know if it'll be enough. We're getting lots of kills. What we're gonna do, our absolute best archers. We're gonna back up some of our archers here. Back up this one, and that one. Just gonna pull them back and let them go for it. We have taken down, it's all 20 or so. Okay, everyone is bailing. Time for us to bail. These guys, I'm gonna have them bail here. These guys, I'm gonna have them bail here, making sure they're as fast as possible. We might not make it. We did just in time. Oh my gosh. We're getting swarmed a little bit. Okay, they're gonna start taking this area. So we're gonna lose one for sure. Getting a nice tight formation. And everybody else just fire. We'll see how much we can get. Fire, fire. They're being attacked. Fire, fire. Fire at will. I want to go after these guys as much as possible. Okay, guys, we gonna fire anytime soon? There we go. We are losing our throne a little bit. Some of them are getting taken. We're standing up pretty well. We got to take these guys out because they're getting after a throne. We're gonna lose because they're coming after our throne too much. We have killed a bunch of them. It's just not enough right now. We've killed so many of them, actually. Oh, what? Are you out of ammo or something? Yep, go for it then. I think everyone's out of ammo. We ran out of ammunition, guys. It's over. It is over. We tried our best, but we totally ran out. Wow. Just wow. Well, let's go for it. Let's go ahead and speed this up. It's over. We tried. I'll tell you what, though. Still pretty fun. I know that we've definitely lost this, but man, what a good time. We were able to kill 68 of them. They were decently armored. Just couldn't make it happen, so. I did restart to try a different tactic, see if I could take more people out, but it went even worse the second time, and just the reality of it is they had more people, they were stronger than us, and unfortunately, our archers were decimated. We lost everybody. I decided to take one last trip down memory lane, loaded up the last good save where we had all of our archers and all of our happiness, and take a look around. 2.04 thousand. Let's go ahead and disband our armies. But yeah, guys, we started out over here at one point. We had started out over in this little tiny settlement and slowly grew into something truly epic, in my opinion. Finally done. It's time for us to answer our real question. Are archers overpowered? I would say they're very strong. I don't think that they're overpowered, though. Not at all. The vast majority of our army at this point, and granted there's only a couple hundred people, if you have an evenly sized army, I bet you could stack wipe. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. My name's Laundry, and I'll catch you later.